Are you ready to paint? I am. This one was so much fun. Now I know I say that about all the paintings, but this one was. This is a really good painting for beginners. If you have not painted since like a million years ago in college, don't worry about it. It's all fine. I'm going to walk you through step by step every little bit of the way so that you can do all these cool little things. You're going to have a blast with this one. And thank you so much for donating to my business. I greatly, truly, awesomely appreciate it. Thank you so much. Make sure that your work surface is something that you can get paint on. My work surface right here is paper that is taped over a plastic table. I have wood floors. I don't mind getting messy. I have an outfit on right now that is scrubs, like what a nurse wears, so I don't mind getting paint all over myself. I took off my jewelry and I have my hair in a ponytail. So let's get ready. The first thing you're going to need is a canvas. Now I'm using a 16 by 20 canvas. I'm also choosing to paint using a vertical canvas today. If you would rather and it would look cool on your wall, you can always do it horizontal. If you had a square painting, like a 12-inch by 12-inch, and you wanted to do it diagonal, that's also super awesome too. Really just depends on the wall you're hanging it on. I am using a stretched canvas that is over a wood frame. So the wood was built, and then the canvas was stretched and stapled all along the edges. And it's already pre-gessoed, pre-everything. It's ready to go. Don't have to do anything with it. This is my preferred method. If you have a flat board, those are also super cool too. Okay, so I'm going to take a brush, any brush. I'm going to poke a hole, drag it across, then drag it down. And do you see how that opens it? I know it sounds super silly and it's like whatever kind of, but still, seriously, there have been so many times where I've gone to paint something and I didn't open the plastic in this method, and I've totally destroyed and killed my canvas, poked holes in it, and then, you know, you're taking forever to open it right here. That's just annoying, right? Yeah, I don't like to waste anything, and if I get a hole in my canvas, I have a bad day. I get all annoyed. Okay, so put that aside. I am going to go ahead and flip it over. Oops, I had a little water spill earlier, so it kind of showed up on my canvas a little bit. That's okay. So this is how I'm going to use my canvas. I have a paper plate. I strongly recommend using paper plates and then at the end of the painting just throwing it out. If you have a piece of cardboard or something, that's also cool too. You can use a porcelain plate if you want, but then, you know, you got to do dishes and it wreaks havoc on the plumbing. So this is much better. Sometimes if I have a campfire, because I have like a little fire pit in my yard, sometimes I'll like, you know, save them and it kind of turns into tinder. The problem with that is you don't want to cook over it because it puts like dirty fumes up in the air. Okay, so we got that. Water. You need clean water. I like to use a pitcher. The pitcher method for me just seems to work better. I got like the little handle. I got a place to like wipe my brush. Like it just works out. Okay, so we got that. Paper. We need paper towels. I'll have one, and then I always like kind of fold it just because so I can have it in my hand as I'm using it. Let's see. Hair dryer, you don't have to use one, but I feel as though when I do use a hair dryer that like it just works better because I can paint faster and I don't have to wait for it to dry and everything. So that's me. I am going to be painting with acrylic paints which dry way faster than oils. So if you got oils, it's going to take forever to dry, which can be cool when it comes to blending, which is what we're going to do now. I'm going to try to do it really fast and have a lot of brush strokes. So because of that, acrylic paint, especially thick body paint for me, for what the look I want to achieve is going to be awesome. So I'm going to go ahead with my white, and I'm going to mix on the palette, or on the canvas versus on the palette and then applying. I find this method to be way easier than putting it on my palette and then moving it over. This is really fast, so bear with me here. It goes really quick. Maybe, possibly, if you want to take a moment and watch what I'm doing for like 5 minutes so you can see, and then go ahead and do it, because it's going to go really quick. Okay, so where I want my moon to be, I want my moon to be right here. That's my moon. Let's see. Maybe I'm going to put a little dot there, a little dot there. I'm going to put another dot down here, another dot down here. That's just going to be for mixing. Okay, so put that aside. Now I'm going to go with some blue. I am going to put the blue. It's going to be really cool. And you don't have to use the colors. I mean, if you want to make a rainbow effect, that would be super, super cool too. So these are just what I'm choosing to do, what I think would be fun. I'm going to do dot there, dot here, dot there. Notice how I'm not using a lot of paint. That's like on purpose. I don't want to have too much paint going too much everywhere. Okay, so then I am choosing to do some purple because I think it would be totally awesomely cool with the blue. I like purple. Purple's my favorite color. I mean, they're all cool because they all have their moments, right? But I don't know, I just seem to gravitate a little bit more towards purple. So the purple's to the end. Ugh. Come on, purple. There we go. Just a little bit, not too much. Not too much. Just enough to say, hi, I'm here. How are you doing? Okay, I'm going to move these down just a little bit. Okay, now here comes the really fast part. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start in the light area. I'm going to make myself a little cool circle and just kind of move that around and just get an even coating. There we go. So then I can pick up a little bit of blue and work it around the moon. Now, I like to make the moon when I'm starting a little bit bigger than when it's going to be smaller. This is just going to help me because I'm going to blend many times, and I'm going to come back in. So I like to leave it really big. Going to mix up some blue. I'm not getting into the purple yet. That's going to be in a minute. And yes, I do like to, as I have that color on my brush and I'm working in that color, I like to go around the sides. You don't have to paint your sides if you don't want to. I personally have noticed that in art galleries, my paintings, when I paint the sides of them, tend to do a lot better and sell. So because of that, I have made a conscious choice to just go ahead and do that. It's a really nice one. Now I want it to be super rustic, okay? I'm working it, but I'm not going to blend a whole lot. I mean, it's a little bit of blend, and it's a moving it around. And I'm going to go back around, try to get a look going. It's going to lighten up with the more white that gets in there. Now I'm going to blend and add some purple. Yep. Make sure I get some on the side that's going to make sense because I want it to wrap around. And don't stress about this, okay? Like this is, I don't want you to be in your head freaking out. I can't do this because I know you can. I've seen you paint. You've shown me your paintings. I know that you got this. So just work it. Now, the longer you take in doing this, your paint will be drying, which I kind of prefer, actually. I kind of like how it's got that tacky look eventually, and that's the tacky feeling. I feel like it has helped me as an artist to have that. I'm going to go into here, got some white. I might need to add more onto my canvas. Got some blue. Going to do... Adding the blue and the white together and allowing it to mix, what it's going to do is allow the blue to get a little bit dark. Excuse me. It's going to get a little lighter. The more white that you add to the blue, the lighter your blue is. And then the more The more actual just blue, the hue blue that you add, the darker it is. See, that's all straight blue right there. See how much darker it is? Now I'm choosing to have a lot of definition and difference in the stripes. I mean, it's very stripy. Now, if I wanted to, I could add some black down here, but I'm purposely choosing not to. Or I could add some greens to make the blue a little bit darker. But I kind of wanted that bright blue because this is pop art. This is very super much impressionism. And so I'm good with it. It works. You know, I'm not trying on purpose. I do not want this to appear to be a photograph. No. I feel like I failed if my painting looks like a photograph. I want my painting to look like a painting. I want to see all them brush strokes in there. I really want it to just come alive. So it's really just working it and working it. And then when you get to a stage where you like it and you're like, ooh, that's good, I totally did that, then I want you to stop. Okay, so I don't want you to overwork it. However, if that's something you're going for, that could be a cool look to the overlooked, because then it's basically what you're doing is you're just blending a whole lot. And when when I'm not doing impressionism and I'm trying to do realism, then yeah, okay, I tend to blend a lot. Okay, there we go. And see how I've got marks going on? I want that. I want a lot of definition everywhere of different ta-ta. I want to be like, I'm lovely and I'm fabulous. I'm here to stay. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. I'm going to take a minute. I'm going to wipe off the paint. Wipe off all that color. And I'm going to go into my water here and mix it around. Oh, sorry, I almost got water. A little water spilled out onto my canvas. I don't want that. Okay, so then, see this? Like, oh, I can bend it and it's easy and it all goes in there. This is why I prefer the picture. Seems to work out pretty good for me. Okay, wipe some off. Have a little bit of color. I really don't want any color or water in my brush. However, I am trying to, I'm on a timer here because I want to get this before the paint dries. Oops, it's drying. That's a little too late. Oh man. Oh geez, it dried. Okay, that's okay. That's okay. We'll move. Onward, Christian soldier. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna go in a circle. I'm working it. I am going to keep some true white in the center there, because this is more about the glow. This is a glow, and I want the moon to actually be the moon, right? I'm liking it. Step back, look at it. I mean, I got a little bump here that I'm not digging. Got some moments going on that I don't like, but it's going to be okay because I'm going to add the tree. And the tree is I'm gonna put a branch and so all the boo-boos that I have that I'm like, oh, that was hideous. It's okay. I'm gonna cover it with the tree so it'll be fine. So I'm gonna go ahead, wash my brush. Now I am choosing on this one to not use my big brush anymore. I prefer also not to have my brush sitting in the water for a very long time. I just find that, I want to keep my brushes. I paid a lot of money for them. I would like to keep them. So I'm going to take a moment here, washing off my brush, and then I'm drying it and cleaning it. Every time I wipe it across my paper towel, I want you to see I have a bunch of mess everywhere. I like to find a clean area, a little clean section of the paper towel, and see how I got all the paint off. I mean, you can still see where it's stained. After the painting, I will clean this a second time when I'm completely done with the class, and just to keep it. Because I've taken care of this brush has lasted me like 20 paintings. because I'm taking care of it. It's also the synthetic fibers, so yeah. Okay, let's see. So now, in order to do the tree, if you wanted to, you could be totally brave and do it right now. Especially because I'm going to be working in black. I think the black is really cool for the nighttime effect. However, I don't know. I'm going to bring out my handy dandy dryer. I feel that my dryer, yeah, I'm basically kind of idiot proofing it for me. So if I mess up when I'm doing my tree, I can quickly wipe off the wet paint, and then the dry paint underneath of the background is going to still be the background, and it'll still be cool. So when you are done and you are happy with your background and it's looking pretty cool, go ahead and dry your paint. If you use high heat, you will change the tones. The tones will become a little bit darker. And if you have a ton of paint on your canvas and you go with a really high, like let's say you have a heat gun, you can, the acrylic paint will start to bubble, which can be a totally cool effect. Like when you're doing snow or something and you want it all bubbly, it's totally cool. But at this moment, I kind of don't want the bubble. So I'm going to go with a medium heat. Now I'm just going to do it high, and I'm going to move the hairdryer across pretty fast. I mean, I'm not going to sit in one place, but I'm kind of going to sit to let it dry. That way I don't get any bubbling happening. So go ahead and do that, and I'll see you in like 5 minutes. about good. So you're going to know that your paint is fully dry when it is no longer shiny. So all the places where I kind of globbed on the paint, they're still a little bit shiny, but not all the way. Okay, so now I think this is a good opportunity to make some stars. So I'm going to show you the easy peasy way to do this. It's so easy. You're going to love it. Okay, so I add a little bit of water. I don't need a lot of paint, just a little bit. Let's see. My watercolor looks like this, so I'm gonna go ahead and use that water. If your water is like really dark right now, I recommend going and getting some fresh water to do this. Let's see. So I'm gonna find over here a cool brush. 2 cool brushes. Okay. So I got 2 pointer brushes here. It really honestly doesn't matter. They're 2 brushes. So I'm gonna go ahead with my water, and I need my eyedropper. Where is my eyedropper? That works so much better. Right here. Okay. So a little eyedropper, one that you would, give a little kid medicine. Take out a tiny bit of water, not a lot, just a little bit. Then I'm gonna put a little bit of water in here. Don't need to be a lot, just a little. You're gonna go in here and I'm gonna mix it, and I'm diluting the paint. Now there are many different gessos and different things additives that you can put in, but honestly, really, this works just good. I mean, I don't like to waste money, and I mean, not that it's a waste of money, but this works, so why not? Okay, so see how I've diluted it? It's very wet, almost like a watercolory type consistency, but still kind of thick. I'm gonna take my other one and tap, tap. Now the more you tap, the smaller your little dots are gonna be. So I'm gonna go and load again, be very liberal. I mean, I kind of went into the ferrule part of the brush a little bit. Don't really need to do that, but it did. Whoops. And I'm gonna be very deliberate. And wherever these things land, that's where they were meant to go. So don't freak out. Just make sure you have something cool so you're not ruining your table. Honestly, it's my art studio, so these tables were made to they were on purpose, so, okay. I like a lot of stars. I noticed that when I'm hanging my paint in galleries, if I do a lot of stars, those paintings, I'm going to tap it a lot to get some smaller stars in there, but I notice that when I add a ton of stars, those paintings in galleries tend to sell a little bit better. I think it just looks cool and awesome. Like, I'm a total nerd that way. I love stars. I'm all into space. Okay, so now I'm just going to put that away. I'm not going to use it again. Now, to speed it up, I'm going to go ahead and use my dryer. However, I need to be super, super careful because since I've diluted my paint, and I like my stars, I think they're coming out really cool. I mean, I can use, if I wanted to, I could do like one of these deals, and that works too. If you do it in this direction and you're doing this method, what happens is you're going to get shh that way, right? It's going to shh, and then I go this, it's going to go shh. So it's going to make a constellation type of effect, which is totally cool too. Very awesome. But I'm not feeling it right now for this one. I feel like where I put my dots is just fine, so I'm going to let it be. So when you're happy with the way your stars are, let them be. Since I diluted it, honestly, it really is the best thing if I just let it sit and dry by itself. Because, I'm sure you've seen like the projects for little kids when they use straws. And then they put the paint and then they blow into the straw, which is totally cool. But I'm not going for that look because I feel like that look a little bit kind of looks like spit almost. And for this painting, I'm not feeling it. So because I have the hairdryer, I would be very careful. So I'm going to hold it up really high. I'm going to go on low. And then when these are completely all the way dry, then I will paint the tree. One of the reasons I want it to dry completely all the way is because since I'm choosing to paint my tree in black, then I'm gonna, if it mixes into like this paint right here is wet and stuff, then it'll start making grays. And at this moment, that's not really what I want. So I'll see you in 5 minutes. right, this is looking really good. I'm liking it. It's total like abstract art over here. Loving it. It's almost like I'm going, like I'm falling into the void of Rick and Morty or something. That's really cool. I like it. Okay, so as I was drawing the paint, I was thinking to myself, because I've painted this theme a million times because it's a good seller. Everybody likes it. It's totally a cute image, and every single time I do it, I always try to make it a little different. I have one that I want to show you that I painted like a million years ago. It's on the other side of my art studio, and I have to go down a flight of stairs to go get it. It's hanging up on the wall right there. I refuse to sell it because it's totally cute and I love it. So it's my baby. It's on the wall. So I'm going to give me like literally 30 seconds to run to the other side of the building and down a flight of stairs so I can go get it. So that way I can show you. Go ahead and finish up and make sure that your painting is extremely dry. I recommend before we go on to the next step. Listen to some cool music. That was a jaunt. I didn't fall down. I was really scared I was going to trip. Okay, here we go. I know, right? Isn't it totally cute? I painted this like literally a million years ago. I really like it. I feel like the moon came out really good. I made the tree to be a heart. Now, this design came about because I had a couple who were selling, sorry, I ran. It was really far. I mean, it's not really far, but I wanted to be gone 5 seconds. I didn't want to be gone like 5 minutes for the video. Anyway, so this couple were celebrating a 5-year anniversary, and I do paint and sip parties. They came to the party. He re-proposed to her again to like renew the vows. I mean, it was the whole thing, right? Totally awesome experience. Well, they saw that I had a painting similar to this on the wall, and so she ordered it for him and gave it as a wedding gift, and they commissioned me to paint similar but way bigger. Same basic concept. So I did like a mock-up, and she really liked it. But I like this one, so I kept it. But anyways, so what I'm trying to say is the moon, I did the spiral. I blended a little bit more in the background. It's a lot more blending. Like, remember, see how I got those streaks? Trying to be a little different. I did a heart, which is totally cool, and I can do that again. I mean, it's really cool. I got the 2 little kitty cats, and their tails are pointing. Today, I want to try to see if I can get them to intertwine, because I think that would be cute. And then I added snow. It's totally snowing. So that could be cool here, but I'm leaving these as stars. It depends. If I don't add any white to the tree, then they're stars. If I add these little clumps of white to the tree, then it turns into snow. So now with the moon here, what I did with this one was I did the same exact step, but I added gray and black, and I did like a round, you know, like, so add dark here, add light there, and I just worked it and worked it and worked it till I got something I really liked. So we'll see. I mean, yeah, I'm always trying to push it and make my art better and cooler, and I'm still with you guys, you know, I'm still like, you're pushing your art, I'm pushing mine too. So let's push our art together and think outside the box and how much cooler we can make our stuff. Okay, so I'm going ahead and adding a little bit of black on my palette. I don't need a whole lot, just a little. Now, I'm going to go ahead, I have a liner brush here, and I chose to, okay, these were cheapy little guys. So because of that, y'all know from my videos and my paintings, I love bright filbert brushes because I like it how when they're compacted and the bristles are little. So this was a liner brush that was, so-so. I used it for a couple paintings. It, you know, it lasted, did its job. Then I went ahead and I cut the bristles, and now it just feels more compacted, and I like that. You don't have to cut your bristles. I did. I'm trying to save money. I'm a cheap, is what that is. I'm cheap. But oh well. Okay, so let's see. Now I'm going to take a moment, look at my painting, and see where is it that I want my tree. Now because I have the moon here, I'm kind of going to meow the tree. So the first step in the tree is I like to make a basic outline so I have an idea of where I'm going. So it's going to take a minute, but I'll figure it out and it'll be cool. I'm nervous. Bravery test. Okay, we're going to hit a big line there like that. That was good. Should I do the heart? I mean, I do the heart quite often now. Let's speed it. Let's just do a tree. I always do the heart. How about we do a heart in the tree? Yeah, okay, compromise. I'm going to come over here. I like those bumps. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to make my little guy. Yeah, he works. Let's see what, of course, we're going to do. So like a tree, I like to think about it as a series of Ys where the ends of the Ys touch the other middle parts of the Ys. I'm going to do another one. It's going to come up over here, and it's going to cut across, and it's going to be super cool. And I come up over here, and this guy's going to kind of go off the painting a little bit. And of course, you know, we have to have our branches going to the other direction, right? So how about we do a I'm fabulous. Have you seen how cool I am? Okay. I like those bumps. Remember, we're making Ys. Making the Ys. Right there. See how it's series of what, like there's 1, 2, 3, 4. I made 4 Ys. Basic concepts, ideas. Okay. So now, the bottom of the tree is going to be a little bit thicker and fatter. So I'm going to go ahead and try to, I'm going to make it thicker this way. I'm going to fill that in. Okay, I'm going to take a second and just kind of fill it in with the paint. I'm moving my brush vertical, just cause. Makes it easier than doing a whole bunch of small horizontal shapes. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and, be down here. It's a lot of fun. Now this is an idealistic tree. I'm going to paint the sides because I'm just into painting sides. But this tree, I don't want it to look like a tree. I want it to look like a fancy tree on like a really cool place. So I don't know if you know this about me, but I've created this fantasy world where my paintings reside. And I like to call it the world of Nog. Nog is the Gaelic word for nice. And so this is what trees look like on my, well, it's not an island, it's a planet. On the planet of Nog, this is what the trees look like. So when I do that, I know it's silly, okay, I get it. I'm not crazy, I get it. But when I think in terms of that, what happens is I feel that it opens up my stress and it makes me like, oh, okay, whatever. I meant to do that. I meant to have all those super cool happy accidents. And I mean, really, having a happy accident just elevates my paintings a lot. I have moments where I'm like, ooh, that came out really good. I'm glad I made that mistake because, wow, look at it now. And so when I think of my planet of Nog, it makes it funny. I don't have to stress out and be like, this is what a tree looks like because Bob Ross says it looks like that. No, Bob Ross, he's awesome, he's cool, he's totally my hero. But at the same time, I'm my hero too. I've got a lot of cool ideas. And so that's what I want your tree to be. I want your tree to be like, ooh, do you see what, ooh, wow, look at her planet. Look at how the trees look like there. That's what I want. I want your tree to be the coolest tree of all the trees of treedom in your world. So don't stress. But do keep in mind that when you are covering this color, the background with the black, it is kind of permanent in the sense that if you want to then retouch up the background and make it awesome again, you got to let it dry, and it's a whole bunch of coats to cover up that black, and it's just a lot of work. Might as well just start all the way over again, you know? So keep that in mind. I mean, try to do it with purpose, but don't be freaking out. Now, do you notice how I made that line again? I made it a little skinnier than the trunk. That's kind of the goal. So I'm going to retouch up these lines and make them extra liney and extra cool. But I'm going to do them in a way that they're not really super thick because the trunk of the tree wants to be the biggest, fattest part of the tree, right? So these are thick, but you know, they can be thicker. I mean, they can be thinner than the trunk of the tree. So, yeah, that's about it. Just get out of your monkey mind. Take a break. If your husband's being a jerk right now, give him some money. Tell him to go to the bar and shut up and leave you alone. This is our time to hang out and to just relax. This is my happy time of the day when I get to hang out with you and paint. So I would like it if you returned the favor and made it your happy time of the day to hang out with me and paint. And your tree is going to take a while to get there. It doesn't happen in 3 seconds. All of my paintings are like that. They don't really start like looking really cool till like the last 5 minutes, and then it's BAM! And then it's like, ooh, yeah, I totally did that. If the branches are a little bumpy, that's even better, and that's even awesomer and cooler, and just like, ooh, gives it more uniqueness of being natural. Even though this is hyper reality, the bumpiness is still kind of cool. I learned that when I was painting. I was working a lot on Chinese painting, and it's almost like in that genre, it's a delight to have the bumpiness, to have the uniqueness. Every brushstroke has a purpose, it has a meaning, and the reason why it's done. It's not just done just because. There's like a whole school of thought as to why. And then these brushstrokes also tell stories. Like they're just going through the act of the meditation and the path in going through the meditation. It's kind of like a practice of Tai Chi, sort of. So yeah, fun and effortless, but yet still with meaning and purpose. If you need to, go ahead, turn your canvas. I turn my canvas like 50 million times when I'm painting. It helps me to get a better angle and a view, and I'm not straining my head or my back or my arm. Try not to put your hand on your painting and then touch in other locations, like you're, ooh, here, and then you're over here, and they're like, oh, I got black everywhere. Try not to do that. Now, if you got it all really good on the first try and you got your branches looking really nice, don't touch them up. Only touch them up if you feel that you're like, yeah, I could do a little better. Make it a little nicer. Okay, that's good. I mean, maybe it would be better if I did allow it to come off the canvas a little bit. The rule of thirds. I have nothing here. I have a lot of weight there. Yeah, and go straight in. Okay. Talk me into it. I'll do it. Now look at all the corners. Do you see them? They all have this different look to them. You know, there's nothing here. There's a lot of weight there. There's really nothing here, and this goes straight in the corner. So each of my corners has its own personality and its own way of doing business. Okay, so now I got the basic gist. So now what I'm going to do is, this is going to be so much fun. I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, I don't like the liner brushes. I'm going to go and get a better liner brush. A long, skinny guy. Which one of you in my little bucket here wants to play? Do I dare pull out a new one? No, that one right here. Okay. So I got a little tiny liner brush that's pretty cool. A little longer, I didn't cut it. Okay, so now, because this is the planet of Nog, my branches are curly. Now, in your planet, if your branches are not curly, they're not curly. That's just what it is. They come to cool points. They are a bunch of Y's that just come to points. However, on the planet of Nog, they're curly. So I'm going to go ahead and bravery test. I'm going to go and make curls. There we go. Now, with the curls, some are going to have a buddy and some are not going to have a buddy. This one, he's going to have a buddy. There we go. See? Isn't he cool? There. See, he's cool. So basically what I'm doing is I don't want to hide where I have some really cool stars going on. Oh no, did that one go in the wrong direction? Ah! You know what, let's just go with it. I'm going with it. It's gonna work and it'll be awesome. So I'm just gonna go with it. Let's make this guy go here. There we go. Dun, 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 dun. Bravery test. Ooh, I like that. That's nice. Yeah. So this is going to take a while. If you want to go ahead and listen to music, I'm probably going to be over here trying not to freak out. Yeah. There's a lot of little stars that I like. Lots of little places that I'm like, yeah, that works. Now they're all around the same like size. I think it is good to vary size, like some big, some small, but for the most part, I'm not trying to get all technical here like a photograph. I'm just trying to let this thing happen and be what it is and make that a little thicker. Now I'm only touching up the ones that I feel could use an extra little touch up. I'm really liking how it's turning out. It's coming across really nicely. Here's a big one. There, see, these are bigger. There, got it. So now let's do a little tiny one. Just cuz. Little tiny one, just cuz. I really liked that swirl. I think that was the best swirl so far. I know, I feel like I really need one here, but I love these stars. They're just working out so nicely. I don't know, let's leave it. We'll see how it goes. But always add more. It's hard to take away, and it's always easy to add more. If you feel like you need to turn your canvas, go ahead and turn your canvas. Okay, so I'm gonna have my little kittens. Maybe I should just go ahead and at least block them in now so I have a basic idea. I'm gonna add a lot more of these. So I'm gonna do kittens. Now, don't stress out, don't nothing, just we're having a good time, okay? So, they're gonna be, yeah, there's a little dot there, I like that dot. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead, body, and then another body. And then you can even stop there, but I'm gonna give them some shoulder blades. So they're gonna have another one area, but it's gonna be a little bit smaller. So I'm almost making like a snowman kind of. It's gonna be a little smaller. Just 2/8. All right, so then I'm gonna make another little one ball, but it's gonna be much smaller, and that's gonna be the head. So see my little snowmans? I got 2 of them. Okay, so now I'm gonna go ahead and just fill the little snowmans in. Take your time. If you need to turn your canvas, don't worry, just turn your canvas. Now, if they're not complete circle perfect balls, don't worry about it. That just gives them character and personality. Like maybe one is kind of like not sitting up straight and pretty and aligned and it's kind of crooked a little. That's okay, that's cool. There's a personality. Okay, so I got my little snowmans. So now let's do some ears. I'm gonna do little triangles, which really they're just gonna be straight lines pretty much. Doop. 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 Oh, little teddy bear. Look at them. They look like teddy bears. They're so cute. Okay. So we got that. Now let's do the tails. Okay, now this is going to take a moment. So, you know, think about what you're doing. Don't just go paint it. Take a moment. Think about it. When you're happy with what you got, then do it and execute it and put it into motion. So I'm going to make a little heart down here, but I'm going to do one tail at a time. That's the secret. There we go. There we go. Ah, there we go. Little curly Q. Okay, now I'm always not good on when I do the hearts in this direction. I'm always good when I do it that way. But now I'm like, I gotta kind of match it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it backwards, just cuz to help me out. And I'm trying to make it so that they're coming together and adjoining to make a little heart. So how about I just line it up? I was going to do it backwards. Now I'm feeling maybe I should line it up first. There we go. Okay, so now he's going to come there. So now I know where I need to end up. So the middle of his butt, coming down and over. Oh, geez, I don't like that. How can we fix it? Fix it, fix it, fix it. Her little butt needs to go down, or I could just make him bigger. You know what? We're going to fix this. It's going to work. I was going to go wipe it off because look, see how there's a difference? But no. So let's make him bigger because it's just a bigger cat. Okay, bigger tail because he's bigger. He comes down a little bit more. There, he's got a bigger tail. Okay, so therefore his body would also be a little bit bigger. So now I'm just going to add volume. Now he's all super snowman-y, so I'm going to kind of, it's still bumpy, but I'm smoothing out that bump so it's not so round, you know? See what I did there? He almost is looking like a guitar shape a little bit. So that bump isn't so much. So therefore, obviously, his head's going to be bigger too. So cover up those little boops that I did. Still kind of, now I think I'm going to keep the head a little bit so it's actually super round. The body was not as round. And make sure I like what I see. And there you go. Okay, he's cool. You know, I kind of feel I need to do the same with her just a little bit to smooth out this little crease here so she's not looking too much like a snowman, just a little bit like a snowman. There, not as bumpy. But I do want to keep that bump. I feel like her head might be a little too small for her body. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to give him a doot. And then I need to give him a doot over here. Oh, that works. That totally works now, doesn't it? Yeah. I don't know. He's not that much more bigger than her. I want it to, it doesn't, I'm not getting the vibe. Okay, so I'm going to go, it's fine. Just going to go over here. See if I can. Don't want to distort it, but I still want to make it a little bit. Okay, so then he needs a bigger head. Okay, there. I don't want him to be too huge. But there, that justifies the boo-boo that I had with the tail, which I guess was the happy accident, right? Because remember how I said the more happy accidents as you have, the cooler your painting's going to be. So I was blessed by having a happy accident. That was a good thing. There we go. Let's do the triangle again. Yeah, oh, he's cute. I like it. Yeah, and she looks good too. Yeah, they got personality. Okay, so now that I have the idea of where they're going, I'm going to add a couple more branches. Yeah, I'm liking it. It's a really good painting. Let's see. Should we have this go off the painting? Or do we make it? Let's go make it go down. But it's a really big one. Because it's closer to us. It's really big and thick, which it shouldn't be. The ends of trees are supposed to be pointier than the parts of the trees that are, the closer you get to the trunk, the thicker that you want your branches to be. For example, like this should be double thick. If those are all single thick, then this guy over here should be double thick, and then this should be triple thick. You know, like of the lines. And the more you get the ratios working, the more it's just going to come alive, and it's really going to happen. Have a little crookedness there to them. Yeah, bumpy crookedness. Have that come up just a little bit, and it fades itself down into double thick. There we go. Which means I could come over here and also make these guys a little double thick as well. So this is pretty much the entirety of how to paint the painting. You just pretty much go until you're happy with what you got. We could add like a bat or something, or an owl. I don't know, I think I kind of want to make this painting just about the two lovebirds over here. So I think I'm just going to add a bunch of these guys. Lovely. Do I dare? I don't know if I dare, do I? I'm gonna make a little guy. So therefore now I feel justified coming here. Go the other way, because remember how we said we were going to go with it. Yeah, that's coming. I like it. Okay, let's see, where else? I'm gonna do a really big one. Yes! Varying the sizes, I think, just make it look so much cooler. Yeah, that's cool. Well then, if I'm gonna do that, I might as well come up here and do a really big one also. Going in the opposite direction. Just 'cause. There's no wrong answers when it comes to this. Now, when you're done with your painting, I would really love to see what you have. Like, honestly, really. I am living right now in this tiniest, littlest town, and this whole COVID thing's got everything shut down. So, like, I haven't really been able to go to any galleries or have really any experiences lately. So, yeah, I need art. I need to see. Give me something to do so I can go to your museum and see what you got going on. So, like, I'm all over social media. I got, like, all the channels and everything. And if you're not comfortable that way and you just private message me, that's totally cool too. Hashtag me in it and make sure that, so that way I can see it. Like, go to my stuff and everything. Otherwise, because, I mean, I am very fortunate and extremely wow and happy that I kind of, like, got a little famous. Like, I got a lot of buddies out there, and I thank you so much. I mean, I totally feel super loved. Like, so long, I felt like nobody cares. And then it seems to really be working over here, and everybody does too care. And so I want to make sure that I see your painting. So, like, hashtag it, or, like, you know, make sure, like, so when you post it, like, so that way I can, like, I'll be directed to it, you know? So I can, like, I'll make sure that I see it, because I don't want to miss it. I'm going to take a second and turn my painting. All this black paint is wet, and I'm scared I might wipe it around the canvas. I'm going to take a quick little moment here. Let's see. That's cool. I like that. It's happening. You know, I feel so much better painting today too. Don't you feel better? I mean, I feel like, not that today was hard or anything, but it's nice to have a minute, you know? Like, I'm just, the world is good again. Let's have a little break. Nobody needs me right now. Baby doesn't need fed or change the diapers. Don't have to do anything. Just hang out. Be peaceful. I hope you feel the same way, because I'm totally like, yeah. If you are super stressing out right now and having a horrible time right now, you're failing, and I feel really bad for you. And I wish I could make it better. But, you know. But if you're having a good time and you're chill and you're hanging out and having a good time, A+, total A+ in the class. Yep. I've also noticed that when I paint, when I'm happy and relaxed, I notice that oftentimes I tend to like my paintings better. And I think they're just so much more cooler. I'm gonna make this guy go off the canvas a little. And I feel like this guy needs to go off the canvas a little bit too, have a little bit of a wraparoundness. I did kind of start a circle here. I could just say that's another branch. I think it's skinnier. Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna take a quick moment here and just, we'll need to make a couple of these just a tad bit, a little bit bigger, just so I can get that idea of the 3D-ness of the further I go down the branch, the thicker it gets. You know what? I think that's it. Okay, so now is the awesomest, coolest time of the painting, where we can just take a moment, look at what we got, and if there's anything you want to change, if you're like, I'm not liking that, now's the time to, you know, last check. I have a rule that I make with myself, whereas it is what it is, and when I finish it, that's how the painting is, and that's how she's gonna stay. Because otherwise, what happens is, oftentimes I'll then work on it over and over and over, and then it turns into the never-ending painting that's literally never-ending. And I don't like that. At some point, you know, you gotta move on and next and go on to something new and challenge yourself, right? Versus staying to the same painting time after time. So I really don't see anything. I'm looking, and I mean, I could add a couple more branches, maybe like one here or something, but I think I'm liking it. So I'm gonna do something cool. You don't have to do this step if you don't want to, but when I was painting, I had a couple boo-boos, happy accidents, where the black kind of came off a little bit and it splattered onto my painting. Now it's totally cool, nobody's gonna notice it, but I'm gonna add a couple more just because I kind of like the look. Like, it's totally happening. So I'm gonna add a little bit of water, not a lot, just a little bit, because I'm not gonna make so much. I use my eyedropper, mix it around, loosen up my paints. Okay, gonna go with any brush. Now I'm gonna try to stay away from the moon, but if I have a happy accident that happens in the moon, oh well, that's what it is, and that would probably be cool. So I'm gonna be very particular. Now I don't want to add as many little dots as I did with when I did the white. The more you tap, the smaller these dots are. If you load the brush and then you just tap, ah! Okay, then you get a really big spot. Oh well, it's cool. I mean, I've got a lot going on here, so it moves the eye, it brings the eye down a little, so totally cool. I totally meant to do that. Yep, little happy blessing accidents. There we go. Yeah, I'm liking it. Total, like, yeah. I don't know if I could really say modernistic, but yeah, it's working. Okay, be careful. Don't want to get into that moon. I mean, I could, but I'd rather not. Not for this one. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Ugh. Got some spots where I don't really get any big ones. There we go. I want big ones. Okay, I ended up doing way more than I thought I was going to do. Okay, now I'm going to purposely choose not to do it again with white because then I'll get white over this black area, and which can be cool. So right now, with it just being the dots the way they are, it's almost, they're stars. But then if I get some white into the tree and the cats and stuff, then it's like turns into snowfall, especially if on the ridges I put snow. So remember how I showed you this painting earlier that I painted right there? See, this one, see how the tree's got like snow in it? Which is totally cool. That's awesome. But I don't know, I think I'm just kind of liking this vibe. Now, you could, if you wanted to, do some like little gray marks into your tree, and that could be cool too. Which maybe I should do some gray. I don't know. The more I mess with it, the less modernistic and the more curated it's gonna look. That's the point. That's the balancing act, right? So if you wanted to, like how I have white here, you can totally do that for snow. Or you could do the same thing, but maybe use gray and do streaks in your tree with some gray or brown. You could go brown too with that. So I think I'm gonna leave it there. She's a-working. I don't know, maybe we should try a little bit of gray, see what happens. And if it's horrible and we don't like it, we can always paint over it. Right? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to take like 3 seconds and I'm going to try to dry this. So that way when I do put the gray, that it's not going to be like overpowered by the black. So I'm going to take a moment and dry it really quickly. Should be good. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of gray. I don't need much, hardly any. You know what? No, I'm going to make, well, I hardly have any white on my canvas. I'm going to see if I can make some gray with what I have. But, yeah, I don't got. Take some black, mix it in with the white that's been like really watered down. It's really light gray. I kind of want a darker gray. So the more black that you add to the white, the darker your gray is going to be. And so if you only add a little tiny bit of black to your white, you're going to have a lighter gray. So yay, totally saved money. Didn't pour out some new paint. That's great. Okay, I'm gonna wipe it off a little bit. Alrighty then. Okay, so now the light source is coming from the moon this way. And I'm going to have the kittens facing the moon. Now, if the kittens were not facing the moon, you could totally add 2 little eyes right there. I'd probably do them in white, but you could, or yellow maybe. You could add 2 little eyes. But I want to have my kittens facing the moon. So I'm just seeing the silhouette of their backs. So the light is going to be here. So because of that, I'm going to make my little gray lines are going to be on the right side of the tree. And they're going to be sparing, okay? Oh, geez, see, don't do this. I got paint on my arm. And if I do, then I'm going to put paint all over the place. So be careful you don't set your arm down on your canvas. Okay, so I got my little line going. Let's make it more 3D, making the painting a little bit more sophisticated. Now I'm going to do the top of this. Oh, geez, too thick. It's going to be very sparing. Okay, I'm going to go back and touch that up with some black. But for now, that works. Let's see now. It would be kind of on the bottom side. happening. I like it. Very nice. Do a little bit here. Don't want a lot on my brush. Just kind of, there we go. Now these are called highlights, so they should be very like sporadic and very few. To help me, because all of this right here is wet, I will turn my canvas just to help me so I don't smear black all over the place. I know where I'm doing my lines on the side of the branch is the side that is facing the moon. And notice how none of the lines really touch each other. I'm doing the main branches right now. Alrighty then. Okay, so I got all the branches, liking it. It's coming along very nicely. So I'm going to go ahead, just not on all of them, but on a couple of these little guys. I want to get some gray on the round little guys. So I didn't do the whole thing. See how it's very sporadic? It's almost if you drew a line, because I did here, and I did here. Get it? So I didn't really do this area, that. I just kind of did one side of the circle. I'm going to do the same thing to try to follow the motif of just doing the one side of the circle, not completing it all the way around. See that? I did here, 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 and here, but I did not do the corresponding opposite ends. And I feel that adding this gray, okay, now here, because instead of adding like how I did these angles, I'm going to keep in mind that the moon is here. So the areas that are more of the circle that would face the moon and be like together with the moon, those are the areas of the circle in which I would want to cover. So by doing this, it's making your painting look just a little bit more sophisticated, and it's like it's got a little bit of extra oomph to it. You don't need to do this step if you don't want to, if you're still scared about it, but you know, sometimes we gotta push ourselves, so try to do that. If you push yourself on this painting and your painting comes out hideous, I'm still gonna give you an A+ because you tried and you put effort. And that's what you need. I mean, I've painted this design, this idea, a bunch of times. And the first million times I painted it, it really came out bad. It was horrible. It sucked. But the more I do it and the more that I think about these ideas and contemplate and take a moment with it, the better that my paintings are getting. I've really developed quite a lot this past 10 years with my art. I feel like I'm doing better now with my art than I did when I was at the university. Because when I was at the university, it was all about do this, do that, do this. And now I have the freedom that I'm like, I allow myself to make boo-boos and mistakes. And I still try, you know, I put effort. But I'm not as scared about, like, I don't try to think about how much the art supplies costed me when I bought them. Like, I try to get that all out of my brain. Because when I do that, then I just focus on the art. And I'm like, okay, well, if it's stuck, I throw it away, whatever. Not a big deal. And then my art gets better. Because then I'm not, like, stressing out, you know? So, don't stress out. If it's bad, you just paint over it. Let it dry completely. Gesso it over so you can get a fresh, clean start. Or one cool thing that, like, I do sometimes is every once in a while, I'll burn a painting. Like, I have a fire pit in my yard, and it's kind of fun. Like, if there's a painting that was just hideous, or like I painted something where I used it as art therapy and I was getting a stress out of my mind, like something icky happened, and I painted it like to help me go through the mentalness of what it was, and it helped me cope, and it was therapeutic. Then I go out, and it's not like, I mean, I'm a Christian here, so it's not like I'm doing like a seance or anything or something weird. It's more of just like disposing of it, and the act of witnessing my painting burning in the fire it's like releasing that pain and that frustratedness, the anger that I had. It's helping me to visualize it and to see it going away and just disappearing. Yeah, so I mean, it is what it is, right? Like, I don't know if you know this, but Frida Kahlo, she was pregnant, and while she was pregnant, she had gotten into a really bad car crash, and it really debilitated her. She had a lot of problems because of it, and then she was in the hospital for several months, and she lost the baby. And while she was in the hospital, she asked the doctors if they could bring the baby to her. So they were studying it, you know, medical science, and they had put the baby into a jar. It fitted in a jar. It wasn't fully formed and developed, like it didn't look really like a human. And so what she did was she sat in her bed, and it took her like, I think 3 days to paint it. And she painted her baby, and she painted it, and it helped her as she cried. She said her goodbyes. I mean, she was pregnant because she wanted to be pregnant. I mean, so it was absolutely devastating when she lost her baby. And so she used painting as a way for her to be able to come to terms with what happened and the loss of a child. And, you know, so sometimes I'll do that. Sometimes something, it will happen to me, and I'll just sitting there and having the act of, and going through and painting it, thinking about what was going on, and like just being quiet and being to myself, and maybe, you know, it helps me, I think about what's going on, or I remember stuff, and I'm painting, and I'm putting all that stress, all that pain, that suffering, that anger that I had, that why, into the painting. And so I got all this out of me, right? And then sometimes I'll paint for hours. So just the act of painting itself, sitting in a chair, focusing the whole time, it can get kind of like, give you a little bit of a fatigue because you're so in the moment, you're there, you know, all your muscles are tightening up for so many hours, and then you get all your anxiety out, right? And then once you got it on your canvas, then I'm not going to sell that painting to somebody. That's weird, you know? Like, I mean, maybe if they're into that kind of stuff, but I'm not. Like, I don't want that stuff on my wall reminding me of all that trauma and that stress and the whatever it was that I was angry about. So then what I do is I put it aside, and then throughout the summer months, whenever we have a fire in my yard, like we cook s'mores and have a good time and whatnot, and I'm with my family, so I'm not like with, you know, I don't want people to judge me or anything, you know, and I know my family's not going to judge me. So I'll pull out my painting, and I'll just put it in the fire, and it's safe, you know. And obviously we're not cooking over it because the fumes it makes and everything, you don't want to cook over that stuff. But just to have it there, and I'll sit down, I'll have my little glass of wine. Usually it makes me cry. But I'll have a moment there, and I'll just watch that painting burn up and just turn into nothingness. And it's just, yep, it's gone. And oh my goodness, let me tell you what, just going through the motions of the activity really helped me to be able to say goodbye to that stress, the drama that I had. So I don't know, if you ever have the opportunity, it's worth a try, you know, but it's got to be something big, okay? Like, I'm not out, it's something big, like somebody died, or like, you know, like, I mean, just something huge, something that's really life-changing. I mean, I've only really ever done it like 4 times, and all 4 times was like, you know, whoa. So like anybody would stress out about. But it's really cool though to sometimes to see it, like some of the painting, I painted fire. I painted a really cool fire, and then I put it in the fire. Oh, it was so cool. It was really cool how it looked. It was almost like performance art. So what I'm trying to get at, I'm so sorry I went on to this huge tangent, But what I'm trying to get at is when you're painting, don't stress. At the end of the day, you just get rid of the painting. You know, if it's not a good painting, it's not a good painting. It happens. I still, after all these years, every once in a while, I still come up with duds. And I'll have paintings that I'm like, ooh, that was a bad one. It happens. I had a professor that told me, well, the whole class, he goes, he says, 70% of your art is going to be absolute crap. And it's going to be horrible. But you need to go through that 70% and go through the journey to get that 30% of awesomeness that's just going to be like, oh, wow, you know? And I, you know, even to this day, I start off paintings with good intentions and I'm like, I'm going to do this. And then I still have some boo-boos, you know, it happens. It's part of just, you know, being an artist. It's how it is, you know? I still feel after all these years, I've been painting for a million years here. And I still feel that I'm growing and I'm getting better in my talent and I'm working it. So it's you're never going to truly be done growing as a painter. It's always going to be there. Scary. You know, there's some moments where I'm like, I don't know. Okay. Too much. I like it. It's good. No, it works. I mean, I feel like now I'm getting to the point where maybe I might be overthinking it. And I feel, I mean, there's a lot of like thought in this process as to whether or not you are overthinking things. Like, when do you stop? Do you stop? And I feel for me that I want to stop before I overwork it, because then when I overwork it, it's too much and painting starts feeling like plastic and synthesized and not truly art. And I feel like I'm right here where I feel I would be happy if this was on my wall just right there. So if you're to that point and you're super happy with your painting, I would recommend just letting it be. And yeah, you did really good. I'm totally excited to see your painting. I hope you share it with me. I really want to see it. Yeah, it'll be cool. And you know, if you wanted to, these don't have to be cats. You could probably do like an owl or maybe a person. I mean, there's so many choices. There's so many cool things you could do. Or you could just do the tree itself. And, you know, if you wanted to paint this again another time and you wanted to do like a rainbow theme, which would be really cool for this one. Like you could do like maybe start with white and then go in with some yellow, followed by orange and then red. And, you know, just go on through the phases. Or, you know, if you're trying to do a specific color theme or whatnot. I did add white down here, so if you were doing like a rainbowy effect, I would recommend maybe adding some white in there or something. It really does contrast with the black of the tree. And you know, the tree doesn't have to be black too. The tree could have been like red or something cool that goes with the theme, you know? Yeah, you could. I mean, if you did this one in red, it could be like the idea of fire or something. That could be cool. There's so many different ways to do this. So when you're taking my classes and we're having fun hanging out together, I don't want you to stress out. Just be happy. Let it be. Be happy. Okay? So I always want you to keep that in mind. And if you're always happy and having a good time, then I'm going to give you an